I yield myself the remaining time, Mr. Speaker.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, listening to the debate by my Republican colleagues, I know Republicans want to pretend like they're not in control because that absolves them of responsibility and accountability. They don't want to own their own record because they know their record sucks. They want to pretend like they're not in control because then they'll be because if they pretend like they're in control, if they acknowledge that they're in control, then they'll be held accountable in November. Now look what they've promised and compare it to what they've done so far. Tax breaks for billionaires. They make sure their big donors are taken care of while they screw over regular people. $40 billion to Argentina, hurting our farmers and ranchers, importing more beef from South America, bombing Venezuela, threatening to invade NATO allies. Meanwhile, prices are not down. Prices are up because of their stupid tariffs and lousy economic policies. They promised to release all the Epstein files. They still haven't done that. In fact, they're covering up for the President of the United States. And people are struggling more than ever because Trump's economy sucks. They are making it easier for the elites, easier for the billionaires, easier for the Epstein class, and harder for everybody else. Maybe that's why even Republicans are finally acknowledging MAGA was all a lie. Of course, their members only acknowledge that after they leave. But let's listen to Trump's former top ally, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And here's what she said, and I quote, "I think people are realizing it was all a lie. It was a big lie for the people. What MAGA is really serving in this administration, who they're serving, is their big donors," end quote. Look at who Republicans have helped. They have been in charge for a year. They've helped big oil. They've helped big banks. They've helped big tech. Look who was in the front row at Trump's inauguration. Billionaires. That's all he cares about. And look at their promises to go after, quote, the worst of the worst when it comes to immigration. Another broken promise. Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem are not going after the worst of the worst. They're going after kids, VA nurses. They're deporting veterans, for God's sake. And so we are sick and tired of the broken promises and the lies. Enough. I talk to Republican colleagues all the time who privately confess to me that this is a disaster. And then they come on the floor and then they talk to the press and say everything is beautiful. That's just not reality. This president and this administration is taking this country in the wrong direction. We have people that are being murdered in our streets by U.S. federal agents. When is enough going to be enough? I mean, I can't believe this. Go along to get along. I get it. Everybody over there is afraid of the guy in the White House. But maybe you should be more afraid of your constituents. Maybe you ought to listen to your constituents because they're sick and tired of this BS. They've had it. They want Congress to be a body that fights for them, that fights to improve the quality of life for average people. They want this body to be a place where we debate important issues passionately and we skip all the crazy debates we have on trivial matters. We can do so much better. We can do so much better. But it requires, my friends on the other side of the aisle, to kind of grow a spine, to stand up and to say and do the right thing. This is nuts what's happening. People being murdered in our streets, federal agents crashing into people's homes without a judicial warrant, former off-duty police officers being detained by ICE. I mean, you know, people with brown and black skin being detained routinely by ICE. This has to stop. And, Mr. Speaker, I urge all my colleagues to vote no on this rule. Let's get to the negotiating table. Let's do something to reel in this out-of-control agency. But going along to get along is no longer an option. I yield back my time.
Gentleman yields. Gentleman from Georgia is recognized.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'd first say that screaming doesn't make up for substance. But in closing, the rule I presented today has